We've decided that we're actually going to break our session down into 4 major areas. So we'll be talking about Microsoft Teams and the way that you can integrate Microsoft Teams with Business Central, including virtual agents, looking up inventory, looking up orders, adding all that data to your teams, sharing data in Teams, and making those Microsoft products talk together because Teams is capable with Business Central now. We'll be talking about the Outlook adapter. So Holly's actually going to demonstrate how you can do full purchasing and sales processes through the Office Outlook adapter. So we'll be showing, creating purchase orders, doing the purchase invoice, doing all of those processes directly from Outlook, and how you can save time with your users and get user adoptability on the sales and purchasing side. So we're very excited about that. We'll be talking about Power BI, how to take some of the basic APIs and capabilities that Business Central has for Power BI and how to get started, how to take that data that you see in BC and get that connected, and then how to build some simple dashboards. So we're going to show you how to do that pretty easily in a few steps. So I'm very excited about that piece. And then we'll also be showing Power Automate. So a little bit of Microsoft Forms with Power Automate and BC. We're going to do some really quick vendor onboarding using those 3 tools, which will be really cool. So you can go back and see ways that maybe you can automate your system. And the cool thing about it is everything that we're showing in our presentation is included with Business Central. So there's no need for add-ins or special products. Everything that you would be seeing, you would have access to. So I think it'll be kind of a cool wow presentation where you can take that data back and show that to your users and maybe figure out ways to automate your processes inside Business Central. So we're super, super excited. I think it'll be a great session. And if you saw our session at DynamicsCon Live last year, mine and Steve's, we did a brief overview of each tool and capability. This will be a little bit more of a deep dive and how to do it. So I think it'll be a really cool, useful session. So excited to see everybody there. I was there last year in Anaheim, and it was a great conference. And so I'm excited to see a lot more people this year, and especially have a lot more attendees on the Business Central side. I think it'll be very exciting. So looking forward to it.
Excellent. Thank you, Shannon. Any questions for Shannon? Got a quiet group today.
I think the best question for Shannon is going to be, what's the good food in Denmark, since you're in Denmark right now? So give us the best food.
Sure.
So if you ever go to the Copenhagen airport, there is a hot dog vendor on the bottom floor, and these are not our traditional American hot dogs that are like, maybe this long or maybe a little longer. These are like huge, long hot dogs that they bake into a bun. So they bake the bun around it, and then they top it with crunched onions, like dry crunched onions, ketchup, mayonnaise, and mustard, or whatever combination of that you like. Best hot dog I've had in my life. Best chocolate milk I've had in my life. So far, that's the best thing, but I'm pretty sure they're well known for other Danish dishes like pork loin and other things, but that's the best thing we've had so far. So if you're ever in Copenhagen, stop and get yourself a hot dog. Good question.
Good
Love
to know.
Thank you, Shannon. We're excited to see you at DynamicsCon Live. All right, Steve Chinsky, I believe you are next.
Thanks, Molly. I'm here alone. My co-speaker is off working on something today, but my topic is going to be, what does BC do when I hit the post button? The post icon. And when I think about this for the last probably 20 plus years, whether you're NAV or BC, how many times have you always wondered what the heck happens when I click post? What does it do when I do post receipt or post ship? What happens when I do post invoice? How about when you're doing post in a production journal or an item journal and you're trying to post something? So what really happens? What are really the debits, the credits? What tables are updated? What data gets updated? So Cliff McDaniel and I are going to sit here and we're going to go through an array of posting transactions that we really want to show you, both from a very simple purchase invoice to a sales invoice, to a sales order and a purchase order. We also want to jump over and show you what happens when a production order is posted, just to show you what happens with the debits and credits in the background, like a consumption journal or an output journal. We also want to show you what happens when we do a registration in warehouse, even though it's a registration, what happens in the warehouse side. So we are going to cover a lot of the system spanning, pretty much from the accounting side to the sales or purchasing side, and then we're going to wrap it up with manufacturing and warehousing. But we're going to cover most of the basics, so just what happens in the debit and credit post. We want to see how it increases or decreases the general ledger. We also want to see what happens in the sub ledgers, items, customers, and vendors. We want to see what happens there. And lastly, if anything happens in our bin, in our warehouse site, what happens and what changes occur on the bin content, let's say, or in the warehousing side. So those are pretty much the subjects we're going to cover. We figure we're going to have a couple of handouts there. So our slides are going to cover a lot of screenshots. If you're a person who really wants to dig deep into this, wants to learn about all the accounting debits and credits, wants to understand what happens in there, and possibly you have a user who shouldn't be there doing posting, maybe they should not be doing posting. We'll also talk about that because obviously there's a security permission setting on that allows for posting or not allows for posting. So that's pretty much what Cliff and I are going to cover. We hope that you'll join us. We hope that everybody will join us because we're going to be in the BC room, the party room, we're going to call it right now, the BC party room. That's the official name, I think. And we're going to bring this long, crazy hot dog from Denmark. Everybody gets one. Shannon's luggage is going to be full of at least 200 of them. Don't ask me what the dog's going to be like at the TSA or anything, sniffing her luggage, but let's not go there right now. But seriously,
I'll put them in your freezer, Steve.
Really excited to see everybody again from last year. As Shannon said, we had a great kickoff one last year, in Anaheim, and love to see everybody this year come and more learning and more networking. And obviously, can't wait to see everybody in September. And I think I'll pass it back to Molly.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Steve. We're excited to have you back at DynamicsCon Live for a second edition. And that BC room, I mean, we don't have favorites around here, but that was the cool kids room as we labeled ourselves last year. So it was a great time. It was a great time. Excited for that again. All right. Any questions or feedback for Steve before we move on? Any questions on his session he plans to present with Cliff, I believe?
Yep.
So Steve, behind the scenes, are you going to show the squirrels running around in the cage making the engines run?
I think we should show how the squirrels in the cloud slowly move through the posting process. But we should have maybe we should put that little icon as one of us says the word post.
Yeah.
Just have a squirrel running on.
We're working on it. We're working on it.
It's like, I'm working, I'm getting there. Leave me alone. Go get a cup of coffee. Come back in 10 minutes.
Yeah. I think BC room should stand for big crazy.
Big crazy. Rob's got a beautiful big hat, big crazy. I like it.
Big crazy.
Well, with that, I think Rob and Kim are our next speakers that are previewing their session, if I'm not mistaken. So I will let you two take it away.
Well, Kim, I'm going to let you go. I'm just your prop. I got the hat. You do all the talking.
You came well fitted for the theme of San Antonio, Texas, and our Southern event.
Well, howdy, y'all. Y'all come on down to Texas and see us. But hey, Rob, do you want to talk some costing options here?
Yeah, there's 5 of them, and there's a lot of good options to choose depending on what your specialty is. Hopefully, we'll get people straightened out on some confusion they have about what to use and when to use it.
Absolutely. I was doing some research just recently on the advantages and disadvantages, right? And in the market that we have, the economy that's with inflation going, and how that can actually impact whether you should use LIFO or FIFO, right? And why you may be doing that versus standard cost today. So it's going to be really fun to see not only what accounting entries that Steve's already going to cover, right? But some of those entries through the GL ledger and the item ledger, and see what that does for each of the different costing, but then talk about the advantages and the disadvantages and what you might want to consider when selecting a different costing method. So I think that's what I'm covering, Rob, is standard and LIFO and FIFO. And you're doing what?
You want me to do average? Oh my goodness.
Yes,
So, by the way, one of the things that nobody mentioned earlier on is, in addition to presenting all these great topics, we're going to be around afterwards. And I'm actually looking forward to those questions that people come up to us after the event or after our presentation and say, hey, I heard this. What about this? And that's where we actually get to show or share our knowledge about the product and help people solve problems. So, it's all about working and helping people out. So y'all come down.
This just to add to that, Rob, it's so true. I think, it's not just that presentation. We welcome anybody to pull us aside. It's maybe they want to talk about something that's not costing, inventory reconciliation, right? Which is kind of related, but not the same. Any of us. And I think this goes for every speaker here, every speaker on the agenda. Anybody, ask us. That's what we're there for, really. So I'm glad you mentioned that, Rob. See, that's why you get to wear the hat. Y'all couldn't tell we were both from Texas with accents or anything, could you? Good. Okay, I've been working on that.
Best representation of our location. That's fantastic. Do we have any questions for Rob and Kim in their session at DynamicsCon Live?
Rob will be outside the Business Central room telling you where to get the best cowboy hat. So he can help you with measurements and form, fit.
Give you the recommendations on what the band inside should be, whether it's leather or cloth. And by the way, we are going to have long necks down there, aren't we?
Who?
Long neck bottles?
We should. We certainly should. I agree. We certainly should. You guys
bring your boots to go with the hats, right? You got to wear your cowboy boots.
I was going to say, Brad, I think can also point us in the right direction for the real authentic boots.
Maybe Kim and I can give y'all some two-stepping lessons.
There we go.
Fun.
Now we're talking.
Now we're talking fun times at a reception. Learn hard, play hard, right? There you go.
Yes, ma'am.
I love it. Well, thank you so much, Rob and Kim. Very excited to see you representing Business Central so well at the event in September. And I believe our next speaker that's going to be talking about his session is Ben. Hi, Ben.
Hey, guys. Are you ready for this? Check this out. I have a PowerPoint.
Nice.
Right, so I get the honor to present with Ken Sebahar, who I respect immensely in the channel. He couldn't be on the meeting today, but I'll talk for the both of us that I think we both thoroughly enjoy the differences between jobs, the jobs module within BC and the manufacturing. And so we get the opportunity to share about when to use one, when to use the other. One is heavily utilized by almost every partner, which would be manufacturing, and jobs is like left all by itself, and not everybody knows like all the great capability that it can do. So we're pretty excited to kind of share when is the right time to use them, and we're going to walk through kind of what Microsoft's ideas were behind it, or at least what our interpretations of the design concept were. Between the two modules, we'll compare them in detail. So a lot of good content in this one for learning about what's capable in each one so that you can really understand, am I in the right product? Because there are probably companies that are using one or the other, and they should be in the other one. So it'll be a really good session for people that are either already using the software or even exploring the capabilities and which one's going to be the right fit for their business. So we're pretty excited about that. We'll give some use case scenarios, so clients that we have that use one or the other, and why they're doing it, right? So helping people understand real life scenarios of people using the software and when's the right time to do so for them. And then we'll fill it in at the end with can I use both? And that's actually a really good opportunity for a lot of manufacturing companies that I won't get into the detail of it, but you'll have to come to the session, see us talk about it, learn something, Should be a good time. The two people, we happen to be almost twins in terms of our what we've been doing with the software. So we're both 15-year plus vets. Ken's definitely got me beat by about 5-6 years now. And we both have a heavy focus on jobs and manufacturing. So should be a good session. Good thing to learn about and help kind of your business get better using the software. So with that, I'll turn it back over.
Sorry about that. I was on mute. Excellent. Thank you, Ben. Do we have any questions for Ben?
So I'll open it up again. Ben, y'all going to cover assembly orders too?
No. So we considered that, right? So we're trying to stay within the time constraint. And if we add assembly orders, then it's just going to add a little bit more time. And then the question could be, well, jobs versus service, right? And so
yeah,
you just get too deep. So we're just sticking to jobs and manufacturing for this one. Find us in the hall afterward and we'll explain the rest.
excellent.
I like
DynamicsCon Live 2023 topic, perhaps, then?
Right.
You know,
Excellent. Good
Molly, this is exciting. Just even though as a speaker, I can't wait to attend the other sessions I've heard about today.
Yeah.
So it was really good to hear some of the topics. You can read it, but then when you hear people talk about it, it's like, wow, I want to know that. I want to understand what everybody, you know, the ins and outs of what different people are talking about.
Absolutely.
And you know, Molly, that's the other thing that Kim was pointing out. You know, we all get excited about our own topics. So, you know, we generate some extra excitement, and hearing people talk about their subject, it's like, wow, that is great. I really want to see that. So yes.
Absolutely.
And we've got some great passionate speakers.
Yes, we sure do. Did we have any questions for Ben before we move on? Okay, great. Thank you, you guys, for the feedback too. And good to know that we only can cover so much in 50 minutes. Ben's got a wealth of knowledge up there otherwise, though, if you want to continue the conversations in the hall. Thank you for that offer. And hopefully you've gotten that just general vibe from, again, these wonderful presenters. They're very willing to connect with you at our superhero stations. You'll find those in the general session room. Would love to answer questions that you have. They're very good at one-off questions. And they actually have really good connections. If they can't answer it, if Rob can't answer it, he might know that Ben could answer it. So they'll also point you in the right directions, which is really the great thing about these wonderful presenters in our community is they know each other's strengths and their own, which is really good. Just another note that specifically in our Business Central track, I want to point this out because I think it's really special. You've probably noticed somewhat of the theme of us having our partner members and our user members present. And so we're really happy to say we've got just a really good mix of presenters coming from a whole variety of backgrounds and job roles that can relate to our users at our conference in a lot of different ways. And so get to know these folks even before DynamicsCon Live. Send a LinkedIn introduction, or if you would like to be connected with one of the speakers that you saw here today, Denise and I are happy to make that connection for you if you just have a few extra questions that maybe you didn't get a chance to answer during this, but these folks would be happy to answer that for you before you commit to the event especially. So again, we've got a coupon code out there for $75 off, Community 75. Just go to live.dynamicscon.com. With that, I will just open it up for any general questions from the audience. I know we kind of sped through these awesome BC sessions we have planned. But any general questions for our speakers or about the event?
Oh, and it won't be 100 in mid-September. only 95 guys.
That is a good point to make. That is different. That is.
Well, we're right there.
Hopefully it won't be still 100. Do what, Rob?
One thing to note to everybody on the call, you know, of the 12 different sessions we got running here, we wanted to cover the span from, you know, whether it be your finance, whether your jobs in manufacturing, whether you're using Office and Power. You know, we really try to cover everything to make sure we had enough speakers and enough topic, you know, features and functionality topics that would cover everything, because we are in one room. So we are going to be the BC room per se. So everybody who sits there and learns from us, even if you want to jump to another track, do not do that or else I will find you. But You know, I mean, I will take Rob's hat. You can blame Rob because I'll wear the white hat, but you blame him if you see some guy with it on. It's not me. But seriously, no, we've got some wonderful topics. And one thing to realize is when you do go to DynamicsCon Live, please make sure we get some feedback from you, because next year when we start figuring out what sessions on it, we want to know ahead of time so we can keep piling it up so that the programming committee can pull it together versus, you know, some of the ones we did this past year. So that's more of an FYI for you. And we hope to grow this even more next year to double the number of sessions.
Absolutely.
And
That's
by
right.
the way, Molly was talking about all the great events down there and the Alamo and things like that, but we've got the Riverwalk and there's a lot of great bars around along the Riverwalk. So just don't
and
fall
good
in.
food. Good food too.
Yes. I just happened to be there in December, this past December, on the Riverwalk for a few days. It was so much fun. It's relaxing, it's fun. There's lots to do, lots to eat, lots of beverage choices. It's a really good time. And, you know, you could walk forever. I think it's, what is it, like 4 miles around? I mean, you could just walk and walk and walk. So it's
Or take the boat.
I was
Or
going to
take
say,
the
or
boat.
take the boat.
Or take the boat. Excellent. All right. Well, for those of you that want to get going, we can let you go a few minutes early, but you are welcome to stay while we've got our wonderful presenters. I'm sure they have a little bit of final bantering to do with each other, or just for your amusement. And so otherwise, though, I do want to officially say just a huge thank you to our speakers for joining us today, for giving us a little bit more insight on their session. As was mentioned before, they're really passionate about their topics. They know them well. So they are the right people to be teaching you all of these things. And again, as Steve mentioned, we've got a variety of topics that we're covering over 2 fully packed days. So thank you again to our speakers. You guys are great. So excited to see you in person on September 14th. Excellent, excellent.
See y'all there.
Bye.
Great job. Thanks
Bye,
everybody
everybody.
for joining today.